right, everybody. So today we are back and we have a guest again this week. We have our good friend KAREGAN Woods.
Hello.
I don't know. I guess I've known you about been like 3 years, I guess. Don't know why that matters. But yeah, so KAREGAN is a good friend of ours, really good musician. Her voice will blow you away. Thanks. And yeah. And so I think one topic we were going to talk about some is like vulnerability in writing and kind of playing those songs out and kind of the emotional weirdness that comes with that.
Oof. Yeah.
So like when it comes to writing songs about situations that have to do with other people, whether it be family members or past relationships or anything, do you have hesitations of playing them live or anything, or like any weirdness putting those out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like having an awkward conversation you don't want to have on repeat. But it comes down to you have to like separate what's their story and what's your story, you know? So like I will always feel comfortable like speaking my truth about something or like translating my story to people, but you don't want to share other people's stories, if that makes sense. Like you don't want to dive into like other people's history or their past or like their hurt from a situation, but you don't want to like limit your own voice at the same time.
I've never thought of it that way.
I haven't either. I'll take it. I was like, that's honestly pretty fucking good, but it is crazy whenever I can't speak on, writing. I mean, I fucking journal, but that shit's all over the place and it definitely won't be a song. If it would be a crash and burn song and all these people would be like, damn, that bitch is depressed. But it's crazy to think because not only whenever you're writing and of course, you go on stage and you express those things, it's crazy to think of how many people actually like relate to it in a way. And it's like, damn, like you may even think that your situation is fucked, but some people do understand it and they totally get like what you're saying. And it's like one of those things where I feel like it's very important for not artists to like hold back on what they have to say, because a lot of people will relate to the shit that you put out there. And it's crazy to think about, but it's also one of those things where whenever you are writing it and you're in the moment, you're living in that specific moment, and then getting on the stage and you're like performing it, you're in a fucked up way, you're performing your hurt, but then you have listeners and you're like, and they're applauding you and they're like, damn, this is good. And it's like, damn, you don't know how fucking hurt I am right now, It's kind of fucked, but it happens. I mean, a lot of people have hits on their hurt. Not everyone. I mean, some people can just drunkenly, I can like rap a little bit, but
my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but that is nothing compared to like you actually getting up there and you like performing.
Yeah.
That brought back such a memory all at once in my mind. And I'm like,
you guys were rooting me on.
Oh, there's a story there.
There is. Listen, it ain't that bad. It was so
funny though.
I have the same lines whenever I start out. And if you're listening and if you ever heard me rap while I'm drunk, I bet you can put the tune in your head. I have a video
for sure somewhere that now I'm going to have to find.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. But my raps are just silly raps. I'm talking about genuine shit whenever you get up on stage and like you're performing it and you're absolutely killing it. But deep down, there's actually hurt there.
It's hard because I think just like anything, sometimes you go up there and you almost like zone out sometimes and you are numb to the hurt and it's just like songs. It's like a cover at that point, especially when you play it out often. Oh, yeah. And then once in a while, it just hits you like you wrote it all over again. I think that's like nerve-wracking too for songwriters because you never know when that moment's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You don't want to get emotional on stage. Like you want to emotionally connect, but you don't want to like break on stage. And sometimes songs do that.
And that's the thing. I think that's one of the questions that she did ask. So like, I know you write and I know you have good ass fucking shit that you write, but in a way, like, do you hold back from performing it on stage? Not to hurt anyone else's feelings, but because you don't want to relive those moments that you wrote?
Oh yeah. I think like selfishly, it's more not to hurt my own feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's selfishly, but looking out for yourself. It could be a hit and people could be like, yes, I love this. But deep down, it's like, I'm drowning because this situation took place.
I think that's why, especially for me, and I'm sure other artists would see it, it's hard to release stuff, especially when we don't have like people pushing you to release stuff, because then it's out there. Mm-hmm. Like if I have a bad night, I play a song, it affected me in a way I didn't want it to affect me, I can get over it in a day. You know, like show's over, that moment's over. When it's out there, it's just out there.
Yeah. And in a way, though, it can disappear because Faith here has that whole Christian record.
Oh my God. Do we have to talk about that?
No, I was just spinning off of that because I was like, oh, she says it disappears. But I mean, you got it off there. But still, there's still that moment where you had this out there and you're like, I mean, not saying you cringe, but you're like, that was a point in my life. You look back on that point of your life and it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Honestly, it's mostly cringy because of how I sang, not because of what I was doing. The performance level was not killing it. I did not pronunciate my words. That's what it's about. But
oh yeah, I mean, I released my first EP at like 13.
Ooh, you went further back than me.
You'll never hear it though. You'll never hear it though. Like, yeah, it disappears, but like the people that know me or the people that listen to it, like it was there. Yeah. At least in that moment in time, it was living and breathing and people had access to it. And it's like people having access to part of you.
Yeah.
Which is nerve-wracking.
I think you have to be vulnerable. Oh. Whenever you get on stage, you have to show some vulnerability there.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes if you're playing like something real sad, you're like, people are going to think I'm absolutely not right or they're going to love it.
Yeah. And it just depends how they connect to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have found that anything I write that's been the hardest to write and feels the hardest to release has always had the best reception compared to anything else. Mm-hmm. Every single time. And, you know, those are the songs. I think about it. One of the songs that does that is I have a song called Cycle, and there's a line in it about like, oh man, I can never remember the lines of my songs if I don't play it like from the beginning all the way through. But it's something about, I don't know, something about being dealt a bad hand or something. But like I'm real poetic with it and it's cooler in the song. And like that one moment whenever I do play it, because I've only played that song solo so I can hear everything real good. There's like this moment that hangs. And I literally, almost every show I played that song, I can hear someone in the crowd go, well, I say crowd, it might be like 5 people, but they'll be like, damn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so.
But you live for those moments.
Oh, yeah.
Like that song kills, but you live for like that one moment.
Yeah. We're actually, because where I'm playing in December or whatever, and it's like the first show back since COVID, I'm having to like narrow songs down. And I was asking everyone playing in the band, I'm like, we have to narrow down at least one of these songs. What's going? This one cannot go, and it's that song because of that reason. I'm like, we're keeping it. But yeah,
I think that's kind of what it's all about too, though, because getting that kind of reaction is just like, okay, proud moment for applauding yourself and the emotions that you're feeling whenever you do make it so poetic and, you know, you go about it. And even though, again, it's killing you inside, other people are like, it's killing them too. In a way, they're feeling exactly how you were feeling. And it takes courage. It takes a lot of fucking courage to get up there and do it.
I feel like it's like all about connection. And I think sometimes like artists or writers, you like pull yourself out of that, or like I try to and be like, okay, well, maybe like someone in the audience like needs to hear that and needs that connection. The same way like you would go to like your favorite band show and it's like you're looking for that connection and that like, I don't like that togetherness with that artist. I don't know. Yeah. So I feel like that's what that moment is. Because like it feels good to you as like an artist or writer that you like accomplished that. It's also like connection for them that they were looking for.
And then what spins off that is like one of the biggest reasons that people love songs so much and stuff, especially ones that are, you know, of a less than happy nature, is because when you hear someone else say it, you realize you're not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah.
And that's a whole big part of that.
I think that's why, in a way, I don't go to shows that are like that. Like, I'm a headbanger and I like raves. And it's just like those moments of sadness, like you said, the connection that everyone's having of the togetherness and everything. It just is like, it's hard for me to go to and sit in those moments and like not even get in my deep thought and be fucking sad. And it's like, yes, I enjoy, I mean, as my friends and everything, like, of course, I love watching you guys perform. You have made me emotional before. And it's just like, it's hard for me in those moments and going into the rave scene, because whenever you rave and you're wubbing and everything, I mean.
And you're what?
You're wubbing. You're like wubbing around like.
What?
Okay. We won't.
I just was.
Yeah.
There's a whole other side story of why I asked that, but you continue. We'll talk about it later.
I know why you're asking that.
Yeah.
Anyways, because in that moment, it is like pure happiness. There's nothing, even if they're like, slit your throat and die, and then you're like breaking your neck. But in that moment, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, you do have that strong connection, and it's hard for me to not be emotional whenever I'm in a setting of music where I'm like, holy fuck, this is like, you're doing so good, but this is so fucking sad. I feel your hurt.
Yeah. I feel like I heard this one thing once, and it was like, whatever you put on to stage is what your audience feels. So if like you go up there and you're bored and you're like lazy in a sense, like your audience is going to feel that and be bored. If you go up there and you're like having a great time, they're going to feel that. If you're nervous, they're going to feel nervous for you.
Yeah.
And if you go up there and you're vulnerable, you're going to make every person in there feel vulnerable too.
Oh yeah.
And feel like targeted and they're hurt.
Yeah.
Like
it's energy. It's it literally energy connects within that moment. And you're just like, however you present yourself is how the room's going to rub off on it. It's going to rub off on them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how like it's a power move in a way, because you're in control.
Yeah.
Every eye is on you. Nothing else in that moment fucking matters besides the instruments that are playing and the voice that's in the microphone and the words that are being said. And it's just like, damn, it is a fucking power move. And it's hard for me to even be around things like that. Like even Lipstick and the Low Blow. Dude.
My show's with the Low Blow, so.
Yeah.
Come on down.
And
Catch me
again,
crying.
literally touching, so touching. But it's like, if I'm going to something like that, I do have to prepare myself, because not that it makes me sad. It's just emotional in a way where I'm like, damn, this hit a spot that like I'm kind of running away from.
Yeah. Well,
that's what,
songwriting is like literally the business of like catharsis and like evoking emotion. Like I went to school for for songwriting, and they teach you that. It's like, this is how we're going to pull this emotion out of somebody. And so you go on stage and it's like you are in control of like the emotions in the room, and they're just looking and like waiting. And even if it's subconscious, like they're waiting for you to set the emotional tone of the room. So certain shows like that, like they're cathartic for a reason.
Yeah.
Like that's what they want you to feel.
No. Yeah. And that's what's crazy.
So that's why you go to shows where they evoke happiness and energy and like joy and like upbeat, because that's like what you want to feel. So that's the show you gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we like have our favorite artists, because they pull the emotion out that we need it released.
I like that. That's what I was just trying to explain like 5 minutes ago. The rave scene. That's what I pull towards, the happiness.
And now I'm like, and I'm out here running to all the sad shows.
Yeah. And if you're like me, it's like,
you know,
if we're similar in that, I think it's like maybe we don't know how to express those like sad feelings. Yeah. So that like pulls it out of us and like gets it out.
You know what? I'm seeing something here. Neither of you do know how to express sadness, and my sad ass does.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm always like, here now I've been more standoffish and like to myself, but I definitely can, if someone A will know that I'm sad or I'm feeling something. And like, if they're like, hey, do you want to talk about it? If I'm close enough with you, I will express my sadness. And I feel like you do to share your sadness, but it depends on your comfort zone and how comfortable you are with the person. And KAREGAN, for you, your sadness is in the heat of the moment of things where like you don't want to tell too much, because you don't want, not necessarily judgment, but in a way like you don't.
It's like I don't want that to be like someone's view of me.
Exactly.
Even if it's like temporary. Like I'm convinced that temporary feelings like have like a long lasting impact on someone's perception of me, which like I know is not true. I know that's not true. But in a way,
I get what you're saying there. I totally understand why someone would think that way.
Yeah.
And it definitely isn't a permanent of how you are in the moment of speaking on behalf of what you have going on or whatever. I think you definitely look too much into it, but I understand why you're valid for why you go about it that way.
Yeah.
It's, again, damn sad.
Yeah.
And then I have this view that, not in all situations, but in some, where I'm like, if someone sees the bad parts now, I'm like, we can skip that part later, and I know that they're legit. So
See, I'm like a fake it till you make it. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, I've learned the hard way you can't do that. I will literally lay everything out. Here's what I have, right? Not too early on, but enough to where like, if you want to go, then fucking go. But
here's your out. Yeah.
Yeah. But in a way, it's just like, I don't want anyone in my life that comes into my life in any sort of relationship, friendship, whatever. I don't want them to ever feel blindsided of like, where did this person come from? I've had those moments. I've been the person receiving that and I'm like, where the fuck? But also I've definitely been that person where they're like, you are fucking psycho. And I'm never going back to that person. I will throw at you what I have to offer right then and there. And you can take it or you can fucking leave it. And some people don't, they want to weigh it out, they want to see where the road takes them.
Yeah.
No judgment for that either.
I feel like part of that with me comes from like keeping a guard up, I guess, or like only letting certain people see like certain parts of who I am and my personality comes from doing music so young. It's like I built a persona out of like fear of not really knowing who I was so young. So if I built a persona, then like I could be that person fully all the time. And then like coming into like adulthood and like wanting to be authentic in my music and authentic to my audience. And it's like trying to release that persona or like wanting to people to know this idea you have of yourself instead of just like who you are. I feel like past childhood musicianship left like a sprinkle of that on my personality now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in Nashville. It's like you're almost always on guard. Like when I was younger, it was considered being like you're always on. Like almost like you're on camera, like you're ready to go. Like when you walk into a building of your show, like you should look like the artist, sound like the artist, talk like the artist, interact. It's like having that like Girl Scout cookie customer service face on, and it's like hard to know in the city when to cut that off. When are you just yourself? When are you not an artist? And then it's hard when you're surrounded by artists because then that line blurs, which is a good thing. Like that line should blur. Like you should be able to be authentic while you're being an artist and be yourself and say what you want.
Damn. This makes me think of the time, there was one time where me and KAREGAN were riding back from Illinois together and she just gets to talking and like she can go so deep into it where you're like, oh shit. Like you do think very open. You do think very open-minded.
Yeah.
In a way, you can tend to be closed-minded within yourself, but not for other people. Just pointing that out there. But the way that you are presenting yourself right now, I never looked at it that way. And looking at it, I definitely understand why that guard may be up and why it may even be blurred whenever the two combine. And it's crazy because it's like, and it's not even that I don't think, you said that fake it until you make it. I don't even think that necessarily you're faking it until you make it. It's just, you're respecting yourself. You're looking out for yourself. And that honestly, like, that's the right thing to do in that moment.
Oh yeah. It definitely comes from like a place of fear or like self, like preservation, I think. I don't know. Like the thing with being an artist is everything feels so permanent, especially with like social media.
Yeah.
It's like if I post something or I sing something that isn't what I want my persona of an artist to be, it's like almost like a mild identity crisis. You're like, well, then who am I as an artist? Because everyone's supposed to have it all figured out. No one has it figured out.
Yeah.
No one has it figured
adulthood.
out. Right. Oh, no one has it figured out. No, and I think that's like the beauty of songwriting is I don't have to be one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I was writing on like a rap song yesterday.
I know. Yeah.
And
I always asked you what your genre was. And you're like, I do a little bit. You like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to be set in stone with it.
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's just like you hold yourself very strong-minded with having like being an artist, and especially like at a very young age. And there's a lot of growth there that you had to learn both independently and picking and choosing like who sees that side of you and who fucking doesn't. And that's, you know, that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do whenever it comes to situations like that. And as you get older, looking back on that, you're like, you can't go back and do anything differently.
Yeah.
But you're like, what can I do differently now moving forward?
Yeah. And what did I learn from that?
Yeah.
For sure.
It's interesting because I feel like I come from, which, you know, I didn't start as young as you, but I come from like a different side of it where I'm just like, I don't want to have to pretend I'm on at all. I'm like, I refuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But
I think everyone thinks a little bit differently there, you know?
Yeah. I also think when I started, like the industry was different.
no, that's also true.
Like it
But
was not as
also,
authentic as it is now.
genre wise, when you started, you weren't you mainly country?
Oh yeah, I was
And that
country,
adds
white
to
cowgirl boots, sequin
Yes.
jacket, 9 years old,
yeah.
country
And that in
fairs.
it-
Yeah.
Miley
that in
Cyrus
itself-
Part 2.
That in itself comes with a whole different like.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
immediately, like, I think I was in country from like 9. It sounds so funny, like the age now, thinking how like young, like my nieces,
Yeah.
that I was just already in the industry
Yeah.
and like already in a room full of adults trying to like be an adult
Yeah.
at like 9. And then was already pop in my pop phase by 12. And then like stayed in pop pretty much until like 14, and then went into like an indie songwriter phase. And it's just like I've already had like these different facets of a career, and like I'm 23. And it's like I feel like I've been 4 different artists, and now it's like, okay, now what? Like now who am I actually? So I've kind of tipped my toe in like different waters, but like what do I want to be from here on out?
One thing I wish was easier was to not feel boundaries of genres. Because I come from that, like, which one? I can't write happy songs, save my life. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
If I'm not sad, I just don't feel like writing anything, which is kind of my
that's
problem.
a whole topic. Yeah.
Yep, I guess that's where we're going now.
Yeah,
But
that's a
like, you
whole
know,
thing.
I put that record out, which is like all sad. There's not one fully happy song on it, which is fun. But like, then I got a bit happier, and then it's been like, I've written like two songs in like 2 years. And which one interesting thing has been now I'm starting to do like practices and stuff for that show coming up. And I'm like, I get in there and I start relearning them, and I'm like, I really felt this way once. This is interesting.
Yeah.
And like, and it pulls it back a little bit, and I can kind of go there some. But like, sometimes now I'll pick a guitar up, and I come from, so I don't know that y'all would know this name, but like the scene that I play in, and the like with the label I was on and stuff, or am on, but the artists and stuff surrounding the scene right now, like they're just called fifth wave emo. And so, you know, and like I'll look at my Spotify stuff, and I'm like on multiple fifth wave emo playlists and stuff that people make. And then like I'll pick a guitar up and I start playing something, and I'm just like, this is not in that. And sometimes it's hard to let myself like go down a road that's not that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta kick that to the curb. Just do whatever happens. But
For me, it helped too when I started like writing with and for other artists. Cause I'm like, cool, if this doesn't feel right for me, maybe it's right for you, maybe it's right for somebody else. But you like still let that energy go. Like if that's where you were feeling with the song, just like take it there. If it's not for you, maybe it's for someone else, maybe it's for no one. Like
That's
at least
true.
you got it out.
I think it's just crazy though that, I mean, not crazy. It makes sense because even when I'm sad, I like to write, not songs, but journal. But it's just like, in a way, I think the thing, if I were an artist, I would even be scared that, so you present yourself and you have these songs and they're very fucking sad, and then you bring this happy song in. And what if they don't like vibe with it, you know? Like that's something like they cling off of your sadness and they're like, oh, I feel this sadness. But then during your happy times, it's just like not saying no one would be there to like support you and everything, but like thinking about it, it's just, I feel like a lot of artists think that way of like, I want to show this happy time. And maybe you have writer's block or whatever. Like you said, you pick up a guitar and you're like, oh damn, this is like what I did. You know, this is how I felt then. But it's just one of those moments where even your happy times, it's just, I feel like no one is like, I'm not saying no one's happy, but it's just like people can feel those sad times deep in, but those happy times, it's just like very low of who actually can be like, yeah, I feel exactly what they're saying during this happy moment.
Yeah. And I think that's why there's like wedding songs and there's like party songs.
Oh, yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, you connect more with a sad song.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why we like Adele.
We love Adele.
The queen is back.
I think what you were saying too about like you have a hard time writing when you're happy. I feel like there's 2 types of writers. There's probably more, but like for this conversation, like there's people that go home every day. Like I'm thinking of me as like 10 years old in my bedroom. Like there's people that would go home and journal every day. Like, oh my God, this happened in school and I met this person and I have a new friend and I have a new boyfriend and like all these things. And then there's people that would only need an outlet when they're hurt. It's like therapy. Like it's either your diary that you tell them good, bad, ugly, everything you're excited about, everything you're scared of, or you run when you need it. And I feel like that's how I am as a writer. Like it's a comfort. It's always there. It's like therapy to myself. Like I'm going to write this letter to myself in the future to not do this again or see these signs, or like you won't be this hurt in a year. When you like write this song in a year, I promise you won't feel like this.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like. I think other people are different. They can write about like all facets of their life. So being like a songwriter career-wise makes it a little hard. Like you get in these phases where like, do I have to be sad to be successful?
Yeah.
Am I only going to be a writer?
Question.
Am I only going to be a writer if I'm like sad and alone or like going through a breakup? Like that's scary.
I literally had a tweet the other day, or maybe it's in my drafts and I never tweeted it to be real, but I was like, well, turns out I can't write songs when I'm happy. So now I'm going to write songs about not being able to write songs if I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, I don't know.
But also it's like you've been very happy, like, and you've had a lot of changes take place in your life. And it's just so crazy that it's hard to write about them because you genuinely are happy. And like you can spit off of those sad moments and you're like, oh yeah, like poetic. You can be poetic. But during those happy times, it's just so hard to bring to words because in reality, yes, you're happy, but it's like, shit, how do you
explain that?
How do I explain happiness whenever it's so dark in the world that we live in today?
And that's interesting. Like I feel like my vocabulary for like hurt is huge.
Agreed.
And like your vocabulary for joy is like, how do you explain that rush, like that feeling? And that's why those songs are like, they never die.
Also, how do you write a happy song that's also not like a love song? That alone, that's also, that's crazy to me.
I guess that depends if how many people in the world actually get like pure happiness from things that aren't love.
There's a lot of happy songs about weed and drugs and sex and whatever else. I mean, if you're going there, it doesn't necessarily have to involve.
True.
Right. I think there's like a pride element to it. Like, you know, when you write a sad song, like someone's going to be like at least a little compassionate, or like you don't feel bad, like expressing like how you were hurt if someone wronged you or something like that, but you almost don't want to rub it in when you're happy. You know?
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want to be bragging that my life's good right now.
Because regardless, people are going to have shit to say. But during a happy moment, I just feel like people would even turn it into something negative.
Yeah.
Even though you're having a hard time writing about the happy moment, negative fucking Nancy's out there are going to have something to say about it. And it's just like, I think it goes into as well is deep thoughts. Whenever I say the word deep thought, I think of a deep thought conversation of sadness. And like you said, spinning off of what you said a little bit more is like those deep thoughts and those deep conversations and the way that you're feeling in those moments, it's a lot easier to express the sadness that you're feeling. I mean, during my happy times, I feel like my happy times is positive energy, feeling successful, you know, like little small things. And part of those are just me manifesting, me not even, I will literally look up words to manifest for the goodness of my fucking life. And I'm like, how can I put this affirmation into what I'm saying today? Because I am feeling fucking negative. And you know what? The first thing I do whenever I am feeling sad is I will go to a song. Chelsea Cutler. She's on my mind right now.
She's as close as I can get to listening to happy music. I can't. Look, the first track, let me tell you something. The first track of that new album, you turn that on and you go, I'm in a good mood now.
Oh, you should listen to her new album.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah.
It hits. The first one, Forever, yes.
Yeah.
But whenever you get down lower, Devil on My Shoulder and like
I know.
Easy and all that shit, I'm like, damn, you just hit me so hard. And it's like, I relate to someone so much on, it's crazy to me whenever, it's like not bringing church and religion like back up, but like sitting in a service and you think the preacher's talking directly to you, you know? It's like that for me with music. Like I'll listen to a song and I'm like, how the fuck did this person just play out exactly how I'm feeling?
Yeah.
And it's just hard. I mean, in a way you have your own relationship with music and songs because think of a playlist. Like my playlists, I have my happy ones, I have my headbang, but my mainstream one is like, is being sad and country and like being fucking depressed, thinking that I'm too hard to love. But you take all the words that they're saying and in a way, like it's a way you can change your mindset too, to be like, make you realize even more by what they're saying as well.
For sure.
There's another twist I thought of a minute ago where one talent, which maybe is the next thing I need to conquer, is the writing a sad song that no one realizes is sad. Because I feel like that's a lot of pop radio right there.
I successfully did that. Like it sounds like a bop when I play it and it's so sad.
Like I think of like one of the like most sad songs that sounds happy was Pumped Up Kicks.
I'm singing it in my head right now.
I know, I'm like trying to figure out.
It's about a school shooting and a kid running out.
I didn't know that.
Adam Levine from Maroon 5 once admitted that half of what he tries to do is like sad songs that sound happy.
Oh yeah, most of theirs is.
I'm trying to think of a song right now that's happy, sad.
Maps
sad, happy.
By Maroon 5. Maps.
I don't know if I remember specifically which one that is, but I know.
Y'all are the music experts here. I don't even.
But yeah,
I know
Pumped
the
Up
tune.
Kicks. I didn't realize y'all wouldn't know that. I remember I heard that back then, and I was like, "Well, this got depressing."
Well, now I'm
real
singing
fast.
in my head, and I'm trying to go to the next part where I'm like,
all I can hear is Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but like
in my experience, like the song I'm thinking of mine that's sad but fun. It's like talking about how you're out and like you're supposed to be up having fun, but you're sad. And so it made sense that it was a fun song and it's sad. And I didn't realize that till right now. So now I'm like, good job. But yeah.
I see what you're saying there too, as well.
Yeah.
It's just, songs can just take you back. And it's weird how songs can even take you back to a moment, a specific moment. Piction. Is that the word? Piction?
A picture?
Picture. Why am I picturing it
I think
in
you're
your
thinking
head?
of Pictionary. But
No, I think I was spinning it off. But yes, you're having like a vision of in that exact moment what went on. And then every single time you hear that song, you think of that specific moment. You could be driving or whatever. Like, and you're like, damn, it takes me back. And then you wish you could go back to that moment.
Fearless, Taylor Swift, will always feel like driving into Tennessee.
Yeah.
Especially when I was younger. Like the first time, like in the mountains, like it will always be Fearless by Taylor Swift.
Fearless by Taylor Swift.
So weird.
I used to do a thing, just a little, I don't know. I was going to say this is a little tip, but I don't know if anyone wants to do it. But I used to do this thing when I was younger where when I would do certain things, I would play a specific song every time I did it on purpose. So then you play the song back and it automatically takes you back to that spot. So I used to always play Wherever Is My Heart by Brandi Carlile when a plane took off.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then when my friend Chloe lived here, she was an exchange student from Australia. Every time she was a senior in high school at the time. I was a couple years older. And whenever I would take her home, I would drive out of that neighborhood playing like a certain song. So now even to this day, I can like not play that song for a long time. I did it recently and then put it on. And after years, it still feels like I'm driving through that neighborhood.
You like trained your emotions. You ever heard that thing where like they train dogs with like bells? So
like to open the door?
Yeah. Or to like smell a treat and then they know like that, like what that feeling is. They would like train them to like salivate just at the smell of a treat because they like train them stuff. Yeah. Or they would like salivate at the ring of a bell, whatever the theory was. You literally did that with music and your emotions.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I don't know what made me think to do that. But it's like the same reason why like if they're in a certain season of your life, you just listen to this one song all the time, you can play it back and somehow you still kind of feel it a little bit, but sometimes you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah. Well, there's like, I know everyone has songs like they can't listen to. Like in the back of your mind, you're thinking right now, like, oh, that song would kill me.
Yeah.
Or that song would take me back to this moment.
And some of them you just want to forget about and you're like, because that dark moment, a song ends. I'm about to go deep here. The song you play, it ends. Of course, it comes to an ending, but you choose to repeat it during tough situations that you go in. But listening to that song and in the moment that you're currently in, it'll take you back. And then like, I don't know about y'all, but if I hear that song and it was a deep moment and it was a deep like breaking point for myself, like I'll feel it for the next like 3 days until I can actually crawl out of that hole and like be like, okay, saddle up. Like, but to me, it's not just a fucking song. Like it was a period of my life where a lot of intense emotions, whether it was with myself, with other people, whatever it may be, but it still like brings you back. And that's why there are songs where it's a trigger. Like it triggers you. It triggers you in a negative way. And you're like, don't fucking play that for me. Don't do that. Don't take me back to that moment. I don't want to relive it.
I feel like recently there have been songs that are like pouring salt in a wound. You know what I mean? And I've like convinced myself that if I keep playing it, it'll like heal that. And I think in a way it does for me. I've seen those posts like on Instagram. You see those stories and it's like when you're sad and you play the song that made you sad on repeat, just like soak in the sadness. Have you seen that post?
I haven't seen that, but like, damn, that's a lot that you're doing there.
Yeah. But I feel like eventually it's like almost getting numb to like that song and like that, whatever pulled out of you in that moment. You just keep playing it. Like eventually it's like stop, which like isn't healthy. But then you'll like hear it again in a month and you're like, oh no, didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't healthy, but then you're still working past it.
Oh yeah.
This reminds me of, I'm going to go somewhere with this, but I really loved Lord's second record. Loved it. And it came out when I was kind of seeing someone at the time. And so we played it a ton. Mm-hmm. And then there was one song, oh my God, Hard Feelings, which I think is like the best pop song of all time. That's how I feel. But after that ended, I felt like I couldn't, at least for a while, I felt like I couldn't listen to that song. Mm-hmm. Well, then eventually down the road, I trained myself back into it. And I was like, okay, back in it. Got with someone else. Also played that Lord album a lot. Then we broke up and I felt like I couldn't listen to it anymore. We went to the show, like all this stuff. And then I don't remember if it was a tweet or what I saw, but they said something that was like, it's really moving when you reclaim like an album or music that you quit listening to that you used to love because someone like tainted it or whatever, whether, not on purpose, but you know what I mean? And so I went, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to get my Lord album back. So I did a similar thing. And then I recorded a cover of that song that never even came out. But yeah, there's something though in taking it back and being like, and then Avenue Beat, I do recommend, has a song. I don't know what the title is, but it's like the main hook is you're not going to ruin that for me. And it's like about a breakup and how like she's still going to go to the restaurant they used to go to because she loves it and still not going to change the song on the radio when their song plays and stuff. And I'm like, that is the attitude we need.
I know. Yeah.
That's cool.
If possible.
I like that mindset more. Like not the healing the wound, but like claiming it back. Because I mean, even there's like albums I listened to in high school that's not even like related to a person, but takes me back to a place in high school that I don't want to be in mentally, you know? Like, I don't know, my favorite album, like the time I came out. And it's like, oh, I remember like crying about my sexuality to this album, but like it's still a really good album.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to take yourself back to that place, but you don't want to like let that emotion or that incident like have power over you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to not be able to listen to music I like because of something that happened to me or something that I went through.
No, for sure.
Like, you want that control back.
I see like exactly about like reclaiming it, but I've never seen it in the way that you presented it, both of you. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, that's going to be a lot. Like the first go around, like it sounds like for you, like it was awful. So I'm like, damn, I really do want to reclaim these moments. But then again, I'm like, I'm not ready to like add salt to the wound just yet.
Well, I don't think you can reclaim it like the next day, I will say.
No,
you leave some time. You leave
Definitely
some time
not.
and then, you know.
It just does suck because it does ruin that particular moment. It does ruin it for you. And it's like, this is a whole nother spinoff, but it's just like wasted in a way. It wasn't wasted. Let me rephrase that because I've kind of trained myself. It's not wasted time because you are taking lessons and of course those mistakes and you're learning from them. Mm-hmm. But I seen something today that was like, why couldn't you have just stayed a stranger rather than wasted my time? And in that particular moment, I was like, damn, if half the people in my past would have just stayed a stranger, stayed out of my zone, like, I don't think I would be as strong and like working towards being independent as what I am today. But in a moment, it's just like people don't realize how comfortable they get. And this is a whole nother spinoff that would need to have another conversation. But why my question to like wrap this up on is I just don't understand why people lose that consistency of when everything else started out. And so going back to those moments, it's like, I see where you want to reclaim it. Mm-hmm. But then again, a part of me is like, why didn't you just stay a stranger because you at one point were so consistent with this and now you're just like, it's not worth your energy, not worth your fucking time.
It's a song right there. No, that's hard. And it's hard when it's your own songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't say I relate to that.
I had a moment that I had a phase that I can't explain. It would have been before I moved into the East House. But like, I had this weird phase. Well, number one, the like 2 happy-ish songs that I've released are still sad in a weird, nostalgic-y way.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way I seem to write them. But I went through a moment where like I hated this song called August 1st that I had with an absolute passion. And I literally, there was this one time I was like practicing for a show and I was just like straight up crying. I'm like, why is this happening? This is just like, and I went through a moment where I didn't play it because I was like, I'm not doing this. That's the only time that's really happened.
Yeah,
but
I remember that song used to hit you. Even like, I mean, you still got out of it by the East House, you know, but still, there was still just that particular song. That whenever I think of Faithful, I think of August 1st.
Oh God. It's actually one of the songs. I say that because the struggle of that set list and it's maybe on the chopping block and that's my struggle.
Oh, I know. Well, License Plate is also.
Yeah, well, that's probably, I'm not going to have this conversation on the podcast.
I know.
No one cares, but I'm going to come back to that after we're done. But like, yeah, I don't know. That's the only like, I like imagine being like an artist who like tours and like people buy tickets to and really care to come. And I just like imagine absolutely hating a song, but being like, well, I got to play it. Wait, this reminds me. I saw, was it Counting Crows? I don't know. It's like one of the bands that sang a song in Shrek. I don't know. And like they have a song called Miss Jones or Mr. Jones or something. I'll play a clip after we're done. You'll know it. You'll be like, oh, that band.
Yeah.
But like, I went with a friend. He had an extra ticket to the show. And I'm like, well, it's at the Ryman. It's free. Okay, I'll go. And I know 2 songs by this band. I knew this song Colorblind and I knew Miss Jones or whatever it was. They did not play Colorblind. And then they came out for an encore, and you're like, oh, they're going to play that other song. And then he said, and why this story matters, he said, here's the thing. I'm just going to be for real with y'all. We're straight up tired of playing this song, so we're just not going to do it. And then like moved on. And I was like, you know what? Good for you. You've been playing that song since like 2003. Yeah. And so good.
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't know.
There's this one song I have, and it's like, it has one of those happy twists, like one of those good country songs, you know? Starts off sad, but has like, oh, they work out, whatever. And it's one of those songs, it's like, you never know when it's going to hit you. You don't know which part of the song's going to hit you. Is it the sad part that I'm connecting to today or like the happy part?
Ooh.
But it's the one song everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
So it is like roulette with my emotions. Like, let's see.
Which song is it?
It's not out yet.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm like scared to put it out. Because it's like, it's already that like in a weird way, like the staple song on my set that people like expect me to play. And I'm like, if I put it out, is it going to be worse? Or in a negative way, is no one going to care about it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If this thing's not even out yet and people already want you to play it, then I think you have your
I got excited. I was wondering what it was. So like definitely you should play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely know it. But.
I know it. Have I seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say, because like if I don't release it, then it's like, where's that song?
Okay, I know. Now I think it's ringing. Okay, yeah.
I know it's like one song, like after my show, someone comes up and like relates to it or asks where they can find it. And I'm like, you can't. Sorry. Yeah. But it's like, you never know which, and I wrote it in 2 different places. Like I wrote it and came back and rewrote it when I was in like a better place.
Ooh.
And it's like, which moment in my life is it going to take me to?
Yeah.
That's scary.
I see that.
So I've been avoiding playing it. And somehow that doesn't work. Somehow I always end up playing it.
Yeah. That means
it's a request.
That's your sign.
Yeah. I mean, like the other day I played it at, I got to play this like cool festival in this theater, like this amazing sound crew and everything. And for whatever reason that time, even in my happy head place that I was in when I went there, hit me so low. Like the way it resonated in like a theater, I was like, ouch.
Yeah.
I burned like a little bit more than normal.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know with songs.
Never know how it's going to hit you.
Yeah.
We'll get you to release it.
For sure.
So one thing we like to ask everyone is, what does vulnerability mean to you? I should have warned you as well that this was coming, but we ask everyone. I don't know.
Well, this feels really vulnerable. This question is vulnerable.
It's that podcast.
I feel like initial thought is like, oh, scary. Vulnerability is scary. But I also think it's honesty. I think it's making the choice to like let someone see you. And I think I think everyone has like some minor control issues or things that they need to have power over in their lives. And like, I used to like fear away from vulnerability as a way to like control it. But I think choosing when and who and how you're vulnerable, like lets you take that power back.
Ooh. Spooky. I like that.
I feel like that's where I'm at now. It's like, instead of controlling my emotions, it's like I control who I let see them.
Yeah.
Or when or how I express that.
Still, in a way, you're still in control.
Yeah, I'm in control completely.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're in more control. But
yeah. But some people are like, no, I'm not in control in that situation. I can't. Huh,
like if you ask friends from like college, they're like, oh yeah, KAREGAN, she doesn't have feelings. And I was like, oh no, I have a million. I just choose when and how I express them.
Yeah. I like that. That's one of my favorite responses of our question. What does vulnerability mean to you?
Spooky. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I guess we will see everybody next week. Again, this is our friend KAREGAN Woods. Please.
AKA Kaka.
Oh God.
I did not know that. But yeah, please look up her music. Do you want to plug your Instagram or any handles?
Oh yeah. All my stuff is my first name. It's KAREGAN. I think everything's like KAREGAN Music right now, or just KAREGAN.com if you want to come to a show or buy a t-shirt or something.
Definitely go to a show.
I still need one of the t-shirts, but whatever.
Yeah, slack in, it's fine.
All right. Well, we'll see everyone next week. And yeah, see ya.
Spooky. Bye. Thanks, guys, for listening.
You can follow us over at No Subject Apparel on all social media.
You can discover us on YouTube.
And please like, subscribe, follow, and review us on whatever platform you're currently listening on.
New episodes will be dropped every Tuesday.
And you can sign up for our mailing list in the description of this episode to get a personal message from us and reminders for new episodes every week.